Hello, I'm Paul Suellentrop of the Wichita Eagle and Kansas.com. I'm here with Shocker radio and television analyst Bob Hull, and we're going to talk about the Shockers basketball team as they get going into the summer drills. Most of the newcomers will be showing up on June 1st. They are planning to take an exhibition tour later in the summer. And so we're going to break down how the team might be looking, some things they need to get done over the summer and as they head into the fall. Let's start with the guards, and I think point guard will be everyone's biggest question about this team without Fred VanVleet and without Ron Baker. Bob, how do you see that position playing out?
No idea right now, Paul, and I'm not sure the coaches know either. I think they've tried out some players this year, and we're hoping that they would pan out to be next year's point guard. Ty Taylor turned out to be more of a two guard than a point guard, so that didn't work out. I think they tried Connor Frankamp at point guard, and I think he can play it for limited minutes, but I don't think they see him out there as a full-time point guard. And I think Landry Salmon, I think, is another guy that they think might be able to play point guard. But here again, I think he's more of a natural two guard that can slide over and play some point. So I don't think they're really comfortable with any of the returners being the full-time point guard next year. So I think it's going to come down to Deshaun Smith, the junior college transfer from Tallahassee. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to come in and take over the point guard position like Joe Ragland did, like Clevin Hanna did, Malcolm Armstead. But those guys had a couple of years. Malcolm had a year to sit out, so it's going to be tough for Smith. And I think Austin Reeves, the freshman coming in from Arkansas, I think he's a possibility to play a lot of point guard, but he's coming in with a shoulder injury, so I don't know if he's going to be able to play a lot this summer and whether or not he'll be able to play in Canada. So there'll be some question marks there. But don't be surprised if they don't go out and maybe find another point guard, maybe another junior college point guard.
Yeah, they've certainly been mentioned with some people who are still out there, some transfers. We didn't see a whole lot of Landry Salmon. He played in 3 games before he got hurt, and then he came back and did some light practicing toward the end of this season, and I know he was working on ball handling, working on some point guard skills. What kind of impression did he make, and what you were able to see of him?
Well, he's a very intelligent player. He picked up the system probably as fast as any guy I've seen that's come into this program in the last 9 years. Very intelligent, very smart, very high basketball IQ. He can shoot it, he can handle it, and he's a really good defender. If you watch him in practice, I mean, he and Baker going at it head to head, and he made it really difficult for Ron to even catch the ball. So an excellent defender, especially for a freshman coming in. But I don't know if he's a point guard. I think he's a guy that can play both positions, but probably his more natural position is the two guard.
You mentioned Ty Taylor, who left the team, and he was kind of one of several guys who've come in recently and haven't been able to grab that backup point guard position. And that's a position that, boy, we have really high standards at Wichita State when you start mentioning some of the names, Clevin Hanna and Joe Ragland and now Fred VanVleet. Why is that such a challenging position to play at Wichita State?
Well, I think it is at any university, at any program, and at the level that Wichita State is sitting at now, it's even more pressure on a guy coming in because everybody expects them to win the league. Everybody expects them to be in the NCAA tournament, so the standards are very high. And look who the point guards have been in recent years. Fred VanVleet, one of the top point guards in the country, Malcolm Armstead prior to him, Joe Ragland, Clevin Hanna. They've had a string of point guards here that have just been phenomenal. And so that puts a lot of pressure on the guys coming in. So I think they were hoping that Ty Taylor might be that guy, but he's more of a scorer, more of a shooting guard, and never really felt comfortable at point guard. And one of the problems, expectations is one of the problems, but also Coach Marshall has a very complicated system. They have a lot of set plays. They put a lot on the point guard. He has to make a lot of decisions on the court, offensively and defensively. And so there's a lot of pressure on him, and you got to have a good player out there.
Yeah, I think if you were to look at Greg Marshall's tenure here, where if you're going to be the point guard, you've got to avoid turnovers, you've got to play good defense. And while those seem like maybe simple things to do, as we've seen, it's not easy for everybody to come in and run the team and do the things that he demands of them. Last thing we'll talk about with the backcourt, this was not a good outside shooting team last year. They have some of those guys back. They will add a couple players such as Payton Allen, who has a reputation as a good outside shooter. Where do you see the offense coming from the guards?
Well, I think Payton Allen's going to help him a lot. He's a tremendous outside shooter. He's a little bit taller than Ron Baker, a better shooter probably, and has more range than Ron. So an outstanding shooter. Maybe not as athletic as Ron, may not defend quite as well as Ron. Ron was an outstanding defender. But Payton's going to really help him offensively. And he's the guy that played DJ Ballantyne in practice. And they had a hard time stopping him when they were getting ready to play Evansville, and he was playing that role. So he can really score. I think Shamet's going to really help him because he can shoot it. He can hit long jumpers. He can hit medium range jumpers. He can take to the basket. He's very athletic. He can handle it. So I think he's going to help him. And hopefully you'll see improvement with Zach Brown, and hopefully Connor Frankamp will be more comfortable now after a year in the program. And I think he'll be able, I think expectations won't be so high on him. I think there was so much focus on him this year. I thought it put a lot of pressure on him, and I think you'll see Connor play a lot better next year.
Yeah, I think he ended the season shooting about 35% from three-point range. I think they'd like to see him bump that up a little bit. Payton Allen, from what I've seen, an excellent shooter. I think he needs to be on the Graham Hatch plan, I think is how I describe it. If he can get a little more athletic, a little quicker, I think that would really help him defensively.
Yeah, he's a good defender. He's not weak defensively by any manner, but he work on his quickness, work on his athleticism, and but he can shoot it, he can handle it, he can defend, and I think the Shocker fans are really going to enjoy watching Payton Allen play this year.
All right, that's our look at the backcourt for Wichita State in the upcoming season.